we would love to quickly set the base on why are we doing this, right? So as a part of the India-Finland Startup Hub, the idea is to have a one source of truth for everything on the Indian and Finland side when it comes to startups. The way we wish to interact with each other on both sides. It could be on synergies that we explore. It could be on learnings that we have. There are a lot of accelerators on both sides that wish to collaborate. A lot of people wanting to work with startups on both sides. So there's definitely a lot in store that we're planning as a part of the hub, and this is just the start or the beginning of a lot of those. So as a part of the team, I would love to have you join the LinkedIn group as well, where we keep sharing updates. And I can tell you in the next couple of weeks, we would be having a lot more announcements on how all of us on both sides of the border can start collaborating and working together. So on that note, I would love to invite our first speaker, Mikko Armila. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mikko.
Thank you, Gautam. It's a pleasure to be here today, and good afternoon, everyone there at India side, and good day for everyone here in Finland as well.
And for the benefit of everyone, a quick introduction, because Mikko wears two hats in the startup ecosystem. Mikko has been the founder of L&CO Value Accelerator, which has been supporting hundreds of startups over the years. And on the other side, he's a senior business advisor to the city of Helsinki as well. So Mikko, thank you so much for joining us. And I think the next 10 minutes, if you can help a lot of us from here in India as well, understand about the Helsinki startup ecosystem. And of course, there are a lot of questions for here sitting in Bangalore on the prospects of moving base to Helsinki and probably looking at exploring the EU market through Helsinki. So over to you, Mikko. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm trying to give you a kind of overview about Helsinki services and the ecosystem here, but also with Nico and something that we've been doing here recently. So I was asked to talk a little bit about ecosystem here in Helsinki, also a little bit about Finland and about what Helsinki is doing for the startups here. So I'm from Nico Helsinki, and we're here to accelerate your startup journey here. I'm working as a senior business advisor at the city of Helsinki, and Nico Helsinki is part of the economical department here at the city. So anything that you would like to ask later on, there's my contact information. Please free to contact. Tom Koivusalo, head of our unit, is putting that this way. The purpose of Nico Helsinki is to ease the start of new companies, and we help them to build meaningful network and focus on growth with internationally successful business. So this is what we really want to do, and then we're here to serve, and this is a city provided service. Helsinki as an accelerator for innovation and startup ecosystem. What that really means, I can start here a little bit with the DNA of Helsinki. So we at Helsinki, I think this is something that we have seen in the past development in Helsinki, that we do a lot of actions and encounters with the impact. We do a lot of things. We work with the climate issues, sustainability things, working with the smart cities and such. So this is really something that Helsinki is doing constantly, and we call it Hell of an Impact. We have a very, very much here as a maker culture. This is saying that we all nerds here, something like that. Every 6th person in Helsinki is an IT nerd, somehow, one or another way. So this is something that's why we're also building many kind of things, like for instance, gaming sector Finland is very, very big within and we have companies like Supercell, Rovio, Angry Birds, and Small Giant Games, and you name it. One really backbone for Finland here is world-class education, and Finland has been really noted as first in primary education and third place overall education system globally. So this is something that we've been focusing many years, and I think this is still something that is really a Finnish phenomenon. And the fourth here with our DNA is equality. So Finland is the most socially progressive country in the world, and also ranked second least corrupted country in the world. And we really believe equality here, and we want to give opportunity to everyone to success. It would also be said that Finland is the best ecosystem for local connectedness and the community in the world. And such as ecosystems like Silicon Valley and London even has been behind us. And this was coming from the start of Genome 2018, and it has been continued that way. Helsinki has really built, or Helsinki is the best ecosystem. Actually, it is this economy here, and Helsinki has really built a lot of effort to build the ecosystem further, and we will come to that a little bit later. We have been designing the role of the city as well. So just briefly go this through is something that we want to be an innovation driver. We want to be a funder, so we help in some cases even funding some projects as well when it comes to the certain kind of projects. We want to be an enabler. We want to be a connector here. We want to build an ecosystem builder, ecosystem promoter, and service provider. And we have a continuous conversation with this and collaboration with within the ecosystem, whatever it is, citizens, companies, startups, state, think tanks, universities, R&D, institutions, and such. And we want to be kind of the accelerator here in the ecosystem. So this is one important thing when you think about the NewCo as an accelerator. We don't compete with anyone. We are trying to bring everybody together here, and this is the great place to be. What Helsinki then offers as well is really good plate for different kind of test beds. What that really means, we have districts that are concentrating in the different things. For instance, like a Jätkäsaari Smart Mobility District, there's a lot of innovations that can be tested there. There's a lot of data that city owns, and by principle, this data is open unless there is specifically restricted by the law, but there are open APIs already. There's a lot of infrastructure that you can use as a resource as well, and working with that one. A lot of events, we're doing that all the time. We are trying to build the ecosystem together. The schools are doing a lot of things as well, and the education hubs are building up right now as we speak with different universities as well. There's a sea related things that we do a lot of, like a smart maritime program, for instance. You can connect with this. Autonomous mobility is something that we do here as well with the streets. Healthcare is very important to us as well, and we have a lot of ecosystem with that area as well. And we have a fresh air, and we want to really make sure that we understand what that really means and how that can be worked out as a new innovations as well there. Some examples of our local ecosystem players, just briefly. This is probably the pearl of Helsinki, Maria 01, the home of the Helsinki startup ecosystem. This has been building for some time already, and this is going to be a great ecosystem. We have started already the program, and that will continue some years from now even, and this will be probably the best startup campus in Northern Europe. Then we've been working, as I said earlier, that a lot of with the healthcare ecosystem as well, and that Terkko Health Hub was being built a few years ago, and this is really connecting also with the researchers, clinical professionals, entrepreneurs, and medical starting to meet, connect, and cooperate. We've been working with the Accelerator with Metropolia campus there, and it has been operational a couple of years now, and there are first step of startups actually coming to the phase that they really touching the market, and we at the Nyko Accelerator is also helping some of them to move on. Think company is from University of Helsinki and City of Helsinki promoting academic entrepreneurship, and this is important that we are really in an ecosystem. We are bringing already from the universities students and teams to work with these ideas, and Think company is providing a lot of good resources in many cases. Then Nyko Helsinki, what we really do at Nyko is mission is to increase the number of company startups established here, and we offer a different stage of free of charge services. So this is really the city offering and helping, and we really want to be a local ecosystem stronger and stronger here in Helsinki. Nyko is providing services like a business advisory services, startup services, different phases, and events, for instance. And with the startup services, we've been opening up a couple of new services lately, and some of them are here in the presentation. The first one is that I want to emphasize here that we started at the beginning of the year Nyko Accelerator program here, and we are inviting companies to join. We do some open training patches, go-to-market coaching, for instance, and accelerating things, activities as well. This is open to everyone, and I have to say that this is free of everyone to join, and we are not competing with any other accelerators as well. So you can join the accelerator programs and different accelerator programs as well. And also we are providing the very key in our Nyko Accelerator is providing a personal coaching. So you will actually be signed with a personal coach that will have meetings with you and coaching sessions with you as you go. So we really walk with you while you're here. Nyko also is focusing on different kind of key interests in industries: education, health, XR, functional foods, marketing, clean, gaming, and this list will continue as we go. Couple of words. There are a couple of recent openings as well. We just are about to open Helsinki Education Hub. We are building that right now, and it's about education startups, and we really want to be build an environment that educational startups are really getting all the support needed to open the business there. The other one is at Terkko Health Hub. We opened up in last year we opened up Health Incubator Helsinki, and now the second patch is starting right now. And if you are a health company, this is very important, interesting actually topic to look at. So very much I really say that please check that. Some numbers. Nyko Helsinki, we have been established more than 1,000 companies yearly basis like last year, and more than 20,000 companies since we started, and this is a very good number as well. Over 80% of the companies operational after 5 years they joined us, and We've been doing more than 200 events per year, and since this COVID is over, this is something that of course will continue. And also this is important that 30% of the companies are founded by foreigners or international teams. So this is exactly what we do in Helsinki as well. We want to provide probably one of the best places to start with your startup career. There are some other things at the ecosystem as well. Scaling to international markets in Helsinki. We partner with the important programs like the Scale Cities in Europe, partnering in China, Japan. We have a lot of connections globally. International events, we take part of that, and delegations to the booths, preparation workshops. And we've been also offering a lot of help with the startups to join different things. Of course, COVID has been changed that a little bit, but that will be in the future as well, probably one of those tasks that we operate with. And also we at the NYKO as well, we have a soft landing services as well. So we're here to help any way that we can make as good landing as possible to the Finnish and Helsinki ecosystem. So don't hesitate to contact if you consider to join the Helsinki ecosystem here. And also there are International House of Helsinki that you can find a lot of information as well, and counseling, different kind of information needed when you're planning to join here. So I would say that NYKO Helsinki is here to serve. We are not, as I said, we are not competing to anyone. We educate, we connect you with the Helsinki platform, but also with any other player at the ecosystem, if that is VC funds or angel investors, or it could be whatever, even other accelerators as well. We're happy to help you there. And this is then the final word. You probably know what that means. This is a Finnish word, and of course it means Kiitos, thank you. Welcome to Helsinki anytime. Please drop the line and make a contact in any cases that you might think of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mikko. I think definitely exciting to know more about Helsinki, and what I really liked is the focus on so many essential sectors, cutting across C to entertainment to education to healthcare. I think that's what it really excites us, a lot of startups here in India, when it comes to areas, because when you look at the top sectors here in India being a large country in terms of population, right? More than 1 billion people in population. These are basic areas that a lot of startups have started building on, right? In terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of bringing tech from an augmented reality perspective. So I think there is a saying that goes that says if you can build for the Indian market, you can take it to most of the other countries. And a very interesting thing that I can actually see is so two quick points before I would love to say thank you is India happens to be the fastest growing startup ecosystem, and incidentally India has seen close to about 12 unicorn startups in the last 4 months, right? So it is also an ecosystem that's seeing the most amount of funding from VCs. That with Finland being the most innovative country that we've been interacting with, when it comes to technology, especially, right? Technology, education, we put Finland as one of the top, innovative countries. So I think that is where this collaboration between Indian and Finnish startups is going to be very, very interesting, because there is innovation-led thinking on one side, whereas the other side is completely market-led thinking. And I think this is where a typical CEO and CTO kind of combine to make a great enterprise. So very excited about hearing about Helsinki and what it offers. And I think a lot of us over here in India would love to explore synergies with Helsinki-based startups, as well as explore expanding into Europe through Helsinki. I think that's a great window, and especially when you spoke about the support that is available when it comes to relocating there for foreigners. I think thank you so much for that.
Yeah, just a final word is something that adding to that one, that you can consider that in this way as well, that even Finland, we have only 5 million people here, or almost 5 or 6 million people here. So, but we also have in past few months many unicorns actually coming in from Finland. So that's something, and also this is because of that we actually have a very nice narrow ecosystem that you can have access to anywhere. You can have a test pilot areas everywhere, and you can have a data to be used. So use it as a step down.
Absolutely, and just to summarize, Mikko here. Thank you so much, Mikko, and for all startups in India here. I think Helsinki is a great way to enter Europe in terms of the market. And like what Mikko says, I think it's a very, very warm place for us Indians to explore, having our EU base there. So, I think Newco can be a great partner for us in expanding into Europe. So thank you so much for that, Mikko. And for all those watching this session from Finland, I think, to add to what Mikko said, over here in India, you have the test bed to, probably try out a lot of your experiments, especially Finland being great in the education space, education, tourism, healthcare. I think you've got a great market here that you can probably collaborate with us. So look forward to this, Mikko.
Let's work together.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So, and it's really heartening to see all the messages that keep coming on chat. Great to see all of you make your introductions and ask your questions. Close to about 100 plus chats already. I would love to quickly invite Patrik Holopainen, our next speaker. But Patrik, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Pleasure is ours, Patrik. So for all of you out there, Patrik is the CEO of Kiuas Accelerator. Patrik, thank you so much, and we would love to hear you over the next 10 minutes.
Awesome. Let me quickly share my screen and let's just get started. All right, and thank you very much, Mikko, for that presentation. I have to say that whenever there is different parts of the startup ecosystem in Finland talking, there's always going to be a little bit of overlap, because that's what kind of an ecosystem we are. We all kind of know each other. And I think one sort of key takeaway already for you to know who are listening, that you don't have to know always the right person in Finland at the get-go, but rather if you know one person who's part of the startup ecosystem, that person is going to lead you onwards to the next one. So definitely we've collaborated with Newco, and they do an amazing job there as well. But I want to take a brief moment to talk about Kiuas, what we do and what we believe in. And I have to say also that it's really exciting to speak to the Indian audience, because as mentioned before, India is the fastest growing startup ecosystem in the world. And if you follow any kind of startup news globally, you know that India is coming, and it's coming hard. So for that, a really exciting time to speak about Kiuas. So our ambition is nothing less than to create a sustainable world through sustainable entrepreneurship, right? And what it means is that even though those are a little bit vague terms, we do not only want to make the biggest companies in the world, but we want to also make sure that they have the biggest positive impact in the world. So we don't only want to build companies that create a lot of jobs and revenue, but also companies that actually will create a better world. They will tackle COVID, or they will fight climate crisis, or they will help with whatever the kind of global problems we are facing, right? So that is one thing we keep with us in everything we do. And we have a lot of different services that are all for free and might be relevant for you. Now, because there's quite many of them, and I know you already heard a bunch of other free services from Newco, I'm going to walk you through all of them in a chronological order. So if you are a founder, or you're thinking of starting a company, or you already have a successful startup, I'm going to walk you through kind of all the steps of an entrepreneur, and then you can figure out for yourself whether one of these places or one of these services is relevant for you. So starting off first, there might be some of you in the audience who aren't maybe already entrepreneurs, or who maybe haven't had a business school background, but are very intrigued about the idea of becoming an entrepreneur. Well, that is probably why you are here in the first place. But we know that not everyone has access to the same resources when it comes to startup literature and startup kind of basic knowledge. And that is why we created Starting Up, which is a free online course about entrepreneurship. It takes like 1 or 2 days to complete, and it has all of the basic information for any kind of an entrepreneur anywhere in the world. So if you don't know what a go-to-market strategy is, or a shareholders agreement, or why it matters to you, I highly recommend this course. And of course, if you know someone who potentially would want to become an entrepreneur, Starting Up is the place where you want to start it, right? So that no one has an excuse that they don't know what a startup is or how funding works or whatnot. Right. The next thing that we offer for free is a platform called Kiuas Inside. Now, a lot of you have probably thought about starting a company or already have started your company. And I would argue that most of you have thought about or have already started a company with either a friend, a colleague, or a family member. And there is nothing wrong with that, except that you are probably limiting your options. So what if instead of being limited with your co-founders to the people who you already know, but what if instead you would have access to a network of hundreds to thousands of people who are also willing to start a company? And also one problem we face is that we know a lot of talented people who say that I'm not going to start a company because I don't have a great idea. So Kiuas Inside solves pretty much all of those problems. So it's a platform where you can sign up once again for free, and you can access 100 different projects, all of which are people who have a project, they have an idea of how they want to change the world. And we also have a bunch of profiles who are looking for a startup to join. So if you are building a startup and you're looking for a, let's say, a technical co-founder or a business co-founder or a design co-founder, Kiuas Inside is the place to go. But also, if you are a talented individual and you want to start a company, then Kiuas Inside is also the place for you, because you can find startups and you can send them a message and say, hey, I really love what you're doing. Could I help you somehow? What if we could go for a virtual coffee and talk more about what we could do to solve this problem? So Kiuas Inside, a place to find startups, grassroots level startups, as well as your profiles. And there's no reason for you not to sign up right now. Now, moving on to what Kiuas is the best known for. So we've been running for 10 years, and what we are best known for is our accelerator programs. And we have 2 types of programs. We have the Kiuas Start and we have the Kiuas Accelerator. First, the Kiuas Start, it's all about turning an idea into a startup. So we all know that sometimes you don't jump into the startup right away, but you might be working at another job, or you might be finishing up school, or you might be doing something else, and you get this idea that what if this would be an actual company? What if this would become my startup? And we know that there's this kind of a bottleneck or a leap of faith you have to take. And the Kiuas Start is for that. We want to help you take the leap of faith. So if you have a project idea, you have some kind of a business that you want to do, Kiuas Start is the place where we will help you try it out. We will help you find your first customers. We will help you develop your product. And we will essentially try to get you to a point where you can say that, okay, this idea doesn't work, I'm going to do something else. Or you can be full-time employed to your startup. Now, our crown jewel of everything that we do is the Kiuas Accelerator program. And it is coming once again this summer. And the Kiuas Accelerator program, it's for already existing startups. So a startup that has an MVP, maybe even first customers, and it should have already the founders being like full-time committed to the startup. There doesn't have to be any certain amount of revenue. Usually before you get any VC investments, that is like the ideal stage. And our idea with the Kiuas Accelerator program is to take your progress to the next level and essentially scale you internationally. So this kind of a mindset that we have is that if you come to the Kiuas Accelerator, we try to get you to the US markets as soon as possible. We try to get you to the German market as soon as possible. If China is going to be your target market, we're going to try to get you there as well. But the whole purpose of Kiuas Accelerator is that when we have startups that show promise to become global category leaders, we help them get there, and we give them an unfair advantage compared to any other startup. And one thing to know about our programs, they are 100% virtual due to the global pandemic. They are 100% free. We're a nonprofit and we don't charge anything from the founders, and we don't take any equity of the startups. So when you might be thinking, well, Patrik, there are startup accelerators everywhere in the world. There's very little startup accelerators that have the ambition to turn you into a global leader, as well as also they are entirely free, and we are not going to take any equity to hurt your cap table later on. And this is a kind of a feature that is not unique in Finland. In Finland, almost every startup accelerator is free of charge or free of equity for the founders. And now if you're thinking that why should you come to Finland in general, well, there you have it, that you can get an unfair advantage, get top-level coaching, support from mentors who have built not only unicorns, but decacorns, who have built businesses that have exited to Google or Facebook or Amazon or Tencent. And they're going to give it all to you for free. And that compared to that you go to a startup accelerator somewhere else where you have to pay equity. Later on, investors are going to say that, well, I don't know if we want to invest in you because there's a accelerator that owns 7% of your company and they're not going to help you anymore. So why would we invest in you? It's kind of like a drag. So that is like the unique advantage you get at Finland, and that is the unique advantage you get at Kiuas as well. Now, once again, highlighting the sort of path we want to take you on so that anyone actually can benefit from Kiuas' services is that you might be anyone from any background, but if you want to take the step towards building a global sustainable business that's going to change how we think about the world, then the first step is going to be to learn through starting up. The second step is to meet people and meet ideas through Kiuas Insight. The third step is the Kiuas Start. We turn that idea into a startup, and Kiuas Accelerator, we scale that thing, we take it to the world. And now you might ask, what kind of a track record do we have? Do we have anything to prove that we're on the right track ourselves? And we've had 11,000 people already sign up for the entrepreneurship course. We have 1,500 people on the Kiuas Insight network. We have over 200 alumni companies that we have helped personally through our programs, and our alumni have raised closer to $100 million already. Now, how are our alumni doing? Sort of the companies that have taken part, for example, in Kiuas Accelerator. So, for example, Gubbe, that took part 2 years ago, they raised roughly $2 million just last week, and they are expanding to the other Nordics. We have a company called Calculate. Finland isn't known for fintech, but we still make amazing fintech companies like Calculate, and they were part last summer. A few months later, or half a year later, they raised almost $2 million, and they are already going to the United States. So from an MVP stage to entering the United States market and raising $2 million in 6 months, that is the kind of an impact and the ambition we are looking for in our teams. And last, maybe one of our most known alumni, Swappy, they sell reused iPhones. They raised 40 million last year, expanding internationally. They took part already quite many years back, 6 years back, but even with like enough time, they're still aiming to become a global leader in this category as well. Right, and a brief chime in to the Kiuas Accelerator that we are actually expanding it now. And one thing I didn't mention about our programs is that we have had a focus with Finnish companies. However, we are open to accept companies who are relocating to Finland. But this year, Kiuas Accelerator is going to focus in Nordics and Baltics, so that if you are relocating to any of these countries in the Nordics or Baltics, and hopefully Finland, then you will be eligible to apply to Kiuas Accelerator, and the applications are opening next week. And you can find all of the info on the website if that is something that interests you. But of course, as well, if you have any questions, just send me a message and follow us on social media to know everything about what we do, and especially also what our alumni are up to. So that's it for Kiuas. Thank you very much. I hope you got something out of this. If you missed a point or something, once again, don't hesitate to ask me.
Absolutely, Patrik. Thank you so much. In fact, there have been so many questions that have come on chat for you. So I'm going to request you to stay there till the end of this session, because in the end we also have a slot for Q&A, and we can keep taking a lot of these questions, because a lot of startups from India want to know if they can be a part of 2 accelerators at a time, even one in India, one in Finland, which is with you, and what does it take to be a part? How do they apply? A lot of questions on that. So I'm gonna have to keep this for the Q&A session. While you can go through and read all the questions, if there are any questions you can respond by chat, it'll be great. The rest of the questions we can take up at the end.
Awesome. I'm going to go jump into the chat right away. Super
Wonderful.
To have questions. Thank you very much. And please, let's move on to the next awesome presenter.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Patrik. So we're going to have Mirza from Red Brick Accelerator. Mirza, Sagdati, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting, and greetings from Tampere, Central Finland, to everyone.
Absolutely. And for everyone, Mirza is the founder of Red Brick Accelerator, and he's joining us all the way from Tampere. Thank you so much, Mirza. We would love to know more about the Red Brick Accelerator, and how all of us here in India who are listening to you can make use of the programs that you have while we're looking at expanding into Finland and EU as a whole.
Sounds very good. I'm gonna share my screen so you guys can follow. I assume you can see my screen. Hi everyone. As already introduced, my name is Mirza. I'm a founder of Red Brick Accelerator, and we help early stage startups grow to first revenue. We are located in Tampere, which is Central Finland, and this summer we have a little bit different theme, and therefore the headline here, and we think that startups are often about starting before you feel you're ready to start. So today I want to tell a little bit about Red Brick, but also Tampere startup ecosystem. And I have to agree with Mikko and Patrik that in Finland, if anything related to startup ecosystem is what we talk about, you find out collaboration a lot, and we closely work with each other in a very connected way. So let's move on. The story of Red Brick goes back to second part of 2018, and I'm myself a startup founder. I worked with 5-6 different startups before jumping on this side of the fence, and at the moment there were 0 active incubators / accelerators in Tampere region, and Tampere is second biggest city in Finland, so there was obviously something wrong with that, and I thought that this is a problem worth solving. So 2.5 years later, we have 2 different incubation programs. We have pre-accelerator that is 6 weeks long, and then that leads to the main accelerator, which is 3 months long. So very briefly about programs and what makes them different from each other. They are both online at the moment, and in very short, pre-accelerator would be fair to say that it's focusing on ideas, just like in previous presentation, Patrik was explaining the difference between Kiuas start and accelerator, so similar case here. And using a little bit startup terminology here, we are focusing in this program on problem solution fit. That is the nutshell. And then accelerator program, it's focusing on startup companies. So by this point, we have teams with MVP and bunch of testing done and basic traction, and we explore more product market fit. In practice, a lot of companies who start their journey in pre-accelerator, they continue onwards to accelerator program, and therefore we are able to support them in longer incubation period that seems to provide better result. In short, what can we help with? Well, basically we want to validate the ideas and assumptions you have, get a basic traction out of it that will help scale it up later. MVP development is kind of obvious help, as we are working with startups who are roughly around that stage when they are about to release first MVP or iterate on already existing one. What we do wouldn't be possible without a big network of coaches and mentors. And in Red Brick, we have over 100 different coaches who are startup founders, entrepreneurs, industry experts, and so on. And we believe in, so to say, been there, done that experience. That's why I think it's important to provide guidance from people who have been in startup founders' shoes. And finally, startups are about funding, and we also have different angels and VCs in our network who work closely with us, and we help startups get introduced to them and help raise funds. I was digesting some numbers since Fredrik started. So in very short, we had close to 55 startups in 5 batches so far. Some startups were actually participating in other accelerators at the same time while they were in Redbrick. We had one example. Previous batch was a new co-accelerator and Redbrick. So I'm pointing this out as an example that what Mikko says is not really about competition, but more about collaboration. And I also agree with that. I don't see us competing with each other, but more like joining forces and providing best possible support and experience for early stage startups. Also, when COVID happened, we went obviously fully online. And as much as COVID sucked in a lot of ways, it's a blessing in some ways, and in the sense of we were able to get now companies from outside of Finland, and because we conduct program online, we start to think about scaling this up abroad as well. Some of the highlights of this year, although the year is still young, we did have already 3 startups from abroad in the previous batch, main accelerator batch, which was in spring this year, and 2 of those startups are moving to Tampere soon. So I think it's fair to say that we're going to explore this track even more in the future. And this is also important to mention here to this audience. And we obviously welcome startups from India who have ambition to relocate in Finland, and we'd be more than happy to help in the whole process. Some numbers that go, basically credit goes heavily to also startup founders who are superstars of our program. That's another value. We like to think of ourselves as a silent support, and it's really all about startups, not so much about us in the first place. Just last week there was a FIBAN, which is Finnish network of angel investors, and Western Finland pitching. For the first time, we had 3 Tampere startups, and all startups chosen were Redbrick alumni. So good to hear some follow-up success coming up. Targets for this year, well, we want to give 30 new startups support and birth, so to say. We are accepting startups from both Finland and abroad. And talking about abroad, we understood that the need has been validated internally in central Finland. So we want to slowly start preparing on going international Baltics, but not only, also on non-EU countries who have amazing startups and who want to relocate to Finland. This year we have 4 different batches planned. We finished pre-accelerator in early spring. Now we are about to start accelerator in June, and then 2 more coming up in autumn. About the who can apply, we are focusing on early stage startups from both Finland and abroad, and also we are industry agnostic. So anything but gaming is what Redbrick can help with. But also if you're a gaming startups, please let's get in touch, because we have amazing gaming incubators in Finland, and we work closely with, for example, Finnish gaming incubator that is doing good job supporting gaming startups. And I also added some criteria on what it takes to apply. So basically, we are looking for scalable ideas and teams of 2 or more, as developing a startup company solo. It's a lot of work, and any demo, mock-up, prototype that proves that you started building something and you've been validating is good enough. And finally, commitment and dedication, because we are talking not about hobby, but about building your own company, and that requires a lot of work and commitment. Next accelerator batch applications are open at the moment until 28th of May. It starts 14th of June, and it's completely online. So for you guys from India, if any of you thinks of applying to any Finnish accelerators, we would love to get even more applications from India. We used to have quite a few in the past as well. And just like with previous 2 examples, the best thing about innovations and accelerator programs in India is that they're free and we don't take any equity. And I think this is something to celebrate, as it's not the case with a lot of countries in the world. So here's a chance for you to take advantage and get into high quality programs that are for free and will not get any equity away from you in these early phases. The reason for that is that we are public funded, and our main partners are Tampere University and Business Tampere. So in short, that is the reason why we don't charge anything from startups. I promised to say a little bit about startup ecosystem in Tampere. I think it's fair to say that the secret power of Tampere startup ecosystem is super close collaboration. And I don't have time to go into a lot of details, but I'll share those slides later and you can study if interested. We have Tribe Tampere, who is supporting startup entrepreneurs closely in different ways, whether it's incubating early stage ideas and working closely with founders before they are ready for any incubator, or mix and match services that help startups grow with talents who don't necessarily have ideas, but they want to join on a startup journey as well, and networking as well. Then moving on to Platform 6. Platform 6 is a new startup house that was opened on October last year. It's a big City of Tampere project, and it's, so to say, epicenter of all startup activities. Redbrick's new home is now in Platform 6 on second floor. So if you happen to be in Tampere, would be nice to also catch up and show you the Platform 6 and different kind of startups and also communities that we have there. And finally, Startup Tampere, that is part of Business Tampere, is also very heavily involved in supporting startup companies closely on a very operative level. And I put this to outline just some verticals and some industries that are prioritized from Tampere region, and industries that we think we can support best in. A little bit elephant in the room, right? Because COVID changed our lives a lot, and so did running incubators and accelerators. When COVID hit, we were in the middle of spring batch last year, and we managed to move online very fast. But there was also at the same time very urgent need on building a certain platform that will help conduct programs in a more meaningful way so the quality doesn't suffer. And we got in touch with Kiitos Investors, that is big innovation house from Austria, and they work with European biggest accelerators, such as StartupWise guys and so on. So we built a platform that helps digital distribution of content. We have a bunch of pre-recorded workshops that we share with teams, and also teams have a chance to directly book different coaches and mentors we have in our network. So in that sense, there's no need from us, from program side, to facilitate that, but you can scroll and find industry experts that fits your current struggle and work closely with them. Running an accelerator is as good as startup example that come out of it, and as shown before, I will just take few that will help maybe draw a picture of the journey that they take. So Crowdchupa is one of those startups who started in pre-accelerator in October 2020, continued to the main program, and they joined also Platform 6 now, as Redbrick is one of the streamlines for startups to join a bigger community and being part of a bigger bubble here. And they really started literally only with idea and concept. They had nothing in October, and then just in 5-6 months they managed to hire the full-time CMO and to also raise some funds and make sales. That is super important in this early stages, and some kind of validation that this is possible, and all we ask is commitment from founders. Then we have Blog Garden Journey, another team that started in Redbrick, and then we have also close collaboration with Nordic Startup School, that is a seed level accelerator here in Tampere region, and they invest directly from accelerator side into startups as soon as startups start their batch. So Blog Garden is another example who followed very close collaboration, and it's supported by different ecosystem players. I'm here to present Patrik, and I happen to be the face of the team today, but it's also Selina and Grigori who are partners in crime, so to speak, and we really are aligned with values, and we are all people who come from startup background. So super happy to have them as well in the team. Right, that's all from my side. I hope that this managed to bring a little bit closer what Red Brick is about in Tampere startup ecosystem and how we could help you. I will share these slides with organizers, and I will also drop my LinkedIn in the chat. So please feel free to connect, and I'll be more than happy to answer also any questions if later. So once again, thanks for having me, and it was really, really interesting to be here and to tell more about it and get to know Indian startup ecosystem too.
Absolutely, Mirza. Thank you so much, for the amazing, journey of Red Brick as well. So, I have a bunch of questions for you. We're going to keep it as a part of the Q&A segment. In fact, I've been curating a lot of questions for you, Mikko and Patrik, which I'm going to bombard at the end. But thank you so much, and if possible, do answer some of the questions on chat. But I've got a few questions for you at the end.
Very much looking forward to those. Let's get back to them soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And at this point, I would love to invite our next speaker of the day, Annamari from the Business Finland team. Annamari is a senior advisor to the Business Finland team, where she drives everything startups. So if there's one person in the Business Finland team that all of you startups need to go to, it's Annamari. Thank you so much for joining us, Annamari.
Thanks, Gautam. Hopefully able to see now my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, and I can only emphasize what the previous speakers already told, that we are working a lot together in the Finnish startup ecosystem. And today my part is to tell what Business Finland is doing to help foreign entrepreneurs to locate to Finland through startup permit program. And in the end, I will then share a quick overview about Business Finland funding as well. But I would like to just start with a really short intro about Business Finland so that you understand our role in the whole ecosystem. We are doing a lot of other things as well, not only for startups. So Business Finland is a Finnish government organization, and we have 3 mandates. Firstly, to provide funding and other services for Finnish companies to help them to grow on global markets. And on the other hand, to support innovation collaboration internationally. And then thirdly, to promote Finland as a trade, travel and investment destination. And to do this, we have about 600 experts and over 40 offices worldwide. And it's good to understand that as we operate the Finnish taxpayers' money, the ultimate aim of all our work is to bring welfare to Finnish society. But one way to do that is also to help foreign entrepreneurs to enter Finland and use Finland as a springboard to global success. What the previous speakers also told about, the accelerating starting from Finland. And there was already one question, at least I noticed from the chat, that does Finland has a startup visa like Canada? And for the background, there are 2 ways to enter Europe and Finland. One is visa, but that's for stays under 3 months. And if you want to stay longer, then you need a residence permit. So if you are interested to locate to Finland now or after participating the online accelerators, then to move to Finland, you need the residence permit, and the startup permit is one option. There are other kind of residence permits as well. I will come to those later. So what is startup permit and how to apply? The application is fully online. Business Finland role in the process is to evaluate the business plan and the team. And for that, after the evaluation, if it meets the criteria, which I will come back on the next slide, then we provide an eligibility statement. And then the second phase of the process is done by Finnish Immigration Service, in short Migri. And Migri is checking the income requirement, which is 1,000 euro per month for the applicant's own living in Finland. And then there are generic requirements like safety and healthy topics. And otherwise, the process is fully online, but it requires a visit to Finnish mission for identification. And in India, that happens in the embassy, which is located in New Delhi. But unfortunately, at the moment, due to the pandemic, it's closed and we don't know when it will be opened. But the whole process can be started online, and that can be done whenever, and the identification is then later in the process, but can be started at any time. And the permit is for 2 years maximum at the first time, and then it's possibility to be extended. And if you have a spouse, children, they can apply with you as a family members. Then just the income requirement is a little bit higher. So what we are looking for when we talk about the startup permit and what we are expecting to see when evaluating the applications. So first of all, there needs to be a team, because it's hard to build a fast grow company alone, and there must be aim for fast grow in international markets, meaning that we are not looking for companies or teams who are aiming solely to Finnish market or Nordic countries, but for global growth. And there needs to be some kind of innovation, either technology, service model, product, or something which has a competitive advantage on the global market. And the business idea needs to be scalable, so not only for local markets. Team, I already mentioned, so at least 2 people. With versatile expertise to support the business idea that you have. There needs to be also, other than only human resources, so in practice, some funding, either initial funding already or then capability to raise funding from external sources. Then, as I mentioned, we want to support the Finnish economy. So the mother company IPRs related to the business idea, and the core team needs to locate in Finland. And that's how we then also Business Finland can provide funding for that kind of companies. And last but not least, there needs to be passion for growth. And more about the application process and criteria you can find through the link at the bottom. In case not all the requirements are fulfilled, then there is another type of entrepreneurs, like kind of normal entrepreneurs residence permit, which don't have these requirements for like fast grow and innovativeness, so restaurants and hairdressers and everything, consulting services and so on, then falls to the entrepreneur category. And there, in the evaluation for that, there is more profitability of the business operations emphasized. But just to let you know, the process for entrepreneurs residence permit is somewhat longer. The processing takes more time, so it's worth checking maybe first if fulfilling the startup requirements. And other types, then just mentioning here, students, researchers, employees, specialists, and there are a list of others, but these are the most common. So if the entrepreneurship is not at the moment what you are doing, so then other types exist naturally as well. In the end, I promised to share some information about the Business Finland funding. So as said, Business Finland funding is for Finnish companies. But if you come through the startup permit and establish a limited liability company to Finland, it's a Finnish company. So we are not looking the background of the entrepreneurs, but where the company is located. But for companies located in India and just wanting to expand to Nordics or Finnish markets, then Business Finland funding is not available. I'm not going through all the different kind of instruments that we have, but some principles. We always fund projects, and it's not for working capital or investments, but for projects. And we have similar criteria as mentioned with the permit that there needs to be innovativeness and potential for international growth. We have grants and loans, and we are never taking equity, but it's either grant and loan, and which one is it? It depends the purpose, how the money is used, and then the funding instrument that it's suitable for that purpose. And the amount of funding varies from for innovation voucher, it's like 6,200. And the young innovative company funding is 1.2 million euros in 3 phases, and R&D projects can be even several millions of euros. So funding for different stages of company path. And it's worth noticing that Business Finland funding or any public funding is not 100% of the project, but there needs to be part of the project covered by the company. And normally it's either business angel funding or VC funding that covers the rest. So we are matching public funding with the private investments. And just last slide, when it comes to VC funding, last year was a record year for Finnish startups. Investments almost doubled from the previous year to 951 million euros. And these statistics are from the Finnish Venture Capital Association. And at this point of the year, it seems that this year will be new record year again. And with these positive words, I want to thank you and give the virtual mic back to Gautam.
Thank you so much, Annamari. I think that was pretty elaborate in terms of the various ways in which a startup that's been considering relocating to Finland can possibly reach out to you. So I think it's definitely encouraging to see the various government funding in the form of grants and loans. I think there are a few sectors from India that would definitely benefit out of this for sure. So we'll keep this in mind. And like I said to all of you, we've shared the links to the LinkedIn group on chat. And that's one place where you can find all of us, all the speakers, as well as the Headstart and the Business Finland team. We will continue to stay in touch with you on that group. So on that note, I would love to quickly thank Annamari for joining us and giving us that brief overview, and welcome our next speaker for the day, Priyanka Banerjee. Thank you so much for joining us. And Priyanka joins us from Finland. She's the founder of BusinessWiz. Thank you so much for joining us, Priyanka.
Thank you, Gautam, and welcome everybody from my end as well. And now that we have been sitting for almost over an hour, let's just wherever you are, stretch a little bit, stay hydrated, drink some water, because we are going to have a really interesting discussion coming forward in front of you. My name is Priyanka Banerjee, and as Gautam said, I'm the CEO and co-founder of BusinessWiz. It's a Finland-based B2B service provider for diversity and inclusion services. So what we do, we are working with technology companies who are struggling with attracting or retaining talents from different backgrounds, and we help them create a more diverse and inclusive company culture that helps them be more productive, more innovative, and create an overall employee well-being. And we have been doing this with different services that we have, like providing data insights for the existing company cultures. We have diversity inclusion strategy development. We have leadership employee development, workshop training, and so on and so forth. So today, as a part, I am a moderator, but also I will be bringing my experiences of being here in Finland and starting a business and running a business in Finland. And so thank you everyone for that, for having me here, especially Business Finland and Headstart Network. Originally, I am from India, from a small city called Kota in Rajasthan. Probably a lot of you might know or not know. And I have been living in Finland for over 5 years now. I came here as an IT consultant and inspired by the startup ecosystem and other experiences, I decided to become an entrepreneur, and it has been a great journey so far. And today, to join me in this wonderful discussion, we have two panelists joining us. So welcome Lalit Gautam. He is the founder at Sensegrass. And Sensegrass, it offers 360 farming solutions, and we will hear more from Lalit on what they are doing, and he will be bringing his experiences of being an Indian entrepreneur and starting a business in Finland. So welcome, Lalit. So great to have you here. You can unmute and say hi to everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Priyanka, and thanks for Business Finland and Headstart Network. I'm more than happy to share my experience with all the audience here. I'm looking forward for the session.
Yep, thank you for joining us here. And we have another guest with us today, talking having a part in this discussion, Patrik Holopainen. Patrik, hi, where are you? We already heard a little bit from you, but welcome once again. And we would love to have more insights and dive deeper into what you have been doing and your experiences. Can you say hi to everybody joining us here?
Yeah, hi to everyone again. And yeah, really excited to talk a little bit more elaborately about the ecosystem and the opportunities here.
Thank you so much. So let's start our discussion for today. And basically the theme is to understand how to accelerate your business in Finland, but through different experiences coming from all three of us here. And before we dive into it, maybe I will give the stage to Lalit. If you can give a brief introduction of who you are and about Sensegrass, what you are doing, we will love to hear a little bit from your side.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thanks for the welcome. Good afternoon for those who are attending from India, and good morning from the Finnish attendees. I'm co-founder and CEO of Sensegrass. Before I'll jump what Sensegrass do, I'll give a very quick background about my profile. So of course, born and grew up in India, and I finished my all the studies here as well. But in the startup ecosystem from the last 5-6 years, that's my third startup. And Sensegrass is a solid intelligence platform, is an ag tech, food tech, or clean tech startup. And we were trying to solve one of the big issue, which is related to the soil nutrition and the carbon emission in the food production. So our product is a full stack product, which is a combination of an IoT and AI. So of course, with the explanation, you can understand this is a very high deep tech product, but also in a social impact. So I think the combination of these two things help us a lot, to move abroad, especially in Finland. So apart from the Sensegrass, so I'm working in Sensegrass for almost 2 years. I'm doing a lot of mentoring and in the different accelerators and the universities as well, help folks to scale their businesses if they want to do their internationalization of their startups. So that is pretty much from my side. I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions, those who are willing to move abroad, especially Finland, later on, maybe on the chat or even after the panel. So thanks, and looking forward to have a deeper chat.
Yeah, thank you, Lalit, for the introduction and really interesting idea. I really am very close to sustainability, and it's wonderful to see what you are doing. Maybe I'll invite now Patrik to say a little bit about himself and Kiuas. He has you have already spoken before, but I see so many people joining us here now. So maybe open up a little bit who you are, what is Kiuas, and why are you here today?
Yeah, so I'm Patrik, and I'm the CEO of Kiuas. From my background, I'm a tech head, studied computer science and complex systems, and was a little bit more involved with AI. I used to be part of a non-profit organizing hackathon events, and I know there's like a lot of hackathon activities also in India. So we work closely with some organizations from there as well. And so through that, like the hackathon and the startup community in Finland is kind of knit together. So then through that, I ended up becoming a part of Kiuas and then leading it. Yeah, about Kiuas in a nutshell, if you didn't hear me rant about Kiuas before, what we do is that we are a startup accelerator / generator, I guess, because we also help people create their businesses. So that's what we do with a very sort of ambitious focus on creating startups that want to conquer the world and become best at what they do in the world.
Thank you so much, and love what Kiuas is doing here in Finland. I have been following Kiuas, and also in the beginning we have pitched some business ideas to Kiuas, so it has been really interesting. And I think, Lalit, you're an alumni from Kiuas, so you have already had this experience. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you decide to come to Finland? How was your journey? Can you tell a little bit so people know how a company from India decided to come to Finland, and how did you manage to find Kiuas? How was it?
Yeah, so the fun fact is we were part of the Kiuas. We worked with Patrik, I think last year, and it was a wonderful, experience for us. So I think I'll start with the, your first part of the question is that why we decide Finland. So I think when I explain my startup Sensegrass, so Sensegrass, of course, is a very high deep tech product and solving one of the climate or environmental issue, but it's also having a very a big part of the solution is towards the impact side, especially the environmental impact. And we decided that if we want to deliver this product to a global scale, we want to be in a position or in an ecosystem that is known for these kind of startup, like of course, like in a high deep tech or in a tech product, but also which is very friendly for a startup like Sensegrass into the social impact. And Finland, I think if you see the last couple of year trends, Finland have seen a great growth in the funds in the startups, especially in the Finnish startups, right? And especially into the clean tech startups and the environmental friendly clean energy startups as well. So we were somehow involved in the European ecosystem, and we were exploring the right ecosystem for us from the last couple of years. And then somehow we got connected from the some of the people who have recommended Patrik's program, and we applied, and we got involved. And I think that was the turning point time when we get a very close exposure about the Finnish ecosystem, right? The funding, the grant, the different supports. And it's not just the Finnish, when you settle down in one of the European countries, not just limited to that country, but I think you will get a support from the entire European ecosystem. So that is wonderful, especially in the Scandinavian region. It's pretty, if you are coming from the same kind of industry where we are, you are pretty welcome, in that part. So this is that was one of the key reasons why we have chose Finland. But I think apart from this, Finland is, of course, if you guys are aware, if you see the World Economic Rating Index of the best countries to live, happiness index, there are so many reasons. So it's not about when a founder wants to move a country, he or she is not just looking for the business perspective, but I think the other perspective as well, which is you're going to live there, you may have spouse and your family as well, the living standards, safety, security. So I think Finland is a complete package, right? It's a small country, but it's a very well organized, very well, settled down country in terms of if you find the talent for your startup, like the IT and MBA, you have those people. Pretty international, right? Helsinki, the capital is pretty English speaking, place. So this is one thing. Then the second thing, the other social security and all, the scope of grants. I think one of the key reasons, when founders move, especially a founder like me who coming from a different country to a different nation, I think the initial support, the safety net is very important. And I think as the Annamari has explained in the last session, that how the grants, the different sorts of grants at the different level of your startup, they are supporting us. I think that's fabulous. So it's an overall package, not just your business related, of course, but it's also a wonderful place to live and and have your family there.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree that you're not just bringing the business, you're bringing your old self, your family, you're going to make a living here. And definitely hold that thought. We are going to dive a little bit deeper into the grants and funding and all the processes there. But on that note, I just want to ask Patrik about his thoughts on why do you think someone should come to Finland? For example, Lalit, he mentioned he was interested in their companies in deep tech and doing things that are so much popular in Finland, also have a great support system. But who is it, Finland, who is it for? What kind of companies, what kind of people are we looking here in the Finnish startup ecosystem?
Yeah. So I think the key answer here is to look at the future. And so if we think about entrepreneurs 20 years ago, what did they look like? Were they young students already at the university thinking that they're going to start a company? Were they mothers or fathers who were like, I'm going to start a startup? No, 20 years ago, entrepreneurship looked very different. And it's going to look very different 20 years from now as well. And the hypothesis is that as entrepreneurship becomes more and more popular, it gets more and more embedded into the society. And then suddenly you're not only looking for an ecosystem where there's also entrepreneurs, but you're looking for an ecosystem where the whole society supports what you do, and the whole society kind of enables you to also do all the other things that are related to life, which includes, of course, having a family, but also a stable society, which is safe and provides you with financial support. No one gets left behind, kind of. And so for that, I believe that Finland is betting very hard to the future, where entrepreneurship is a more inclusive space and we have more entrepreneurs from very varying backgrounds. But for everyone, Finland is a very strong option, like already today, but I would argue that even more in the future. And I think even to add a little bit more to Lalit there, Finland isn't known that we are the most flashiest people who have the best presentations or pitches, but we are more of a science-backed community. We love deep tech. We love anything that is related to saving the planet. We love tackling meaningful problems. So if you're working with anything related to that, I believe that there's a lot of people in Finland who want to see you succeed at Finland as well.
Yeah, definitely. And to add on that, of course, there is a huge need in the tech industry. And I have a background in tech, and I moved my background from tech to building companies and organizational development. I think that is also very crucial. We are at the crucial point in the whole Europe, we're looking towards more services and employee well-being and sustainability. So I think anyone who is also looking to do something to create a positive impact, be it in tech or be it in any other kind of format, I think it's a great place to be. And on that note, like now that we know that why Finland, why Lalit, you decided to come to Finland, could you open up a little bit about your process? Like, do you already have a company in Finland, or did you set up a company? Did you have a company in India already, or did you set it up later in Finland? And what was the process like? Can you help open it up a bit? Was it challenging, or was it like smooth? What do you think?
Yeah, like we are in the process of incorporating our company in Finland. So we like, I think because of the COVID, it just got delayed a bit. So we got our, so we applied for the the Finnish resident the startup visa. So I'll start. I think this is a the important thing. I think many of the attendees would like to know about how the process was before, like, we incorporating the company. So we applied for the Finnish startup visa. It of course it required a couple of things, that it proper homework before you apply, right? And once you have like all the things ready with you, it's a pretty easy process. I think Business Finland has made it pretty clear and very easy for the people those are not from the Finland. And once you apply, I think you get it, like, first of all, you need I think already have Anna has explained that you need a proper business plan, and the other things, a proper team, and a startup idea which is fit in the Finnish ecosystem, which is a pretty broad. And then after the process, you get a positive assessment, and then you can go to an embassy and get the visa. I think post that, so we already have finished that process by own. And before, I think the post that, you need to go for the different process where you have to start with the incorporation of company, setting up the bank account, and some other local registration in the police department, and some other places as well. So I think the long story short, we are in the process of incorporation of the company. We already have started by own. So again, this is a of course, like, being not a Finnish person, I think it's going to be difficult for you. But I think as compared to the many other part of the world where we have done this process earlier, I think this is quick and easy. And if you know, or if you have someone who can help you with the Finnish thing, otherwise you can simply use the Google Help to translate the website, right? So it's a pretty easy process. And post that, I think you need a bank account and all. So I think that's the the business incorporation part. So I think the overall stuff is that you just need to keep some patience, because you're moving to a different country in a different language, in a different culture, and especially coming from India, I think I would say it's going to be pretty easy as compared to India. So pretty much everything is online, I think. So another good thing about the Finland is, it's an entirely digital country, right? So you can have all these company registration, banking, and all these things. You can most of the tasks you can done online. So I think that's all.
Yeah, thanks, Lalit, for sharing your experience. And definitely, I would concur on the point that, of course, you need a lot of patience and open-mindedness, because from my experiences when I came to Finland and working in the cultural and intercultural topics, there are two different worlds. It's a totally different work culture and a totally different environment, but it's also a great experience for you to have. And you have an advantage coming from a different country, because you bring in a lot of different perspectives to the Finnish ecosystem. And Patrik, maybe from an accelerator point of view, now that Lalit mentioned that they are in the process of incorporating their business, do you have like some kind of a checklist, or some kind of like okay, this is how you should do, or this is what are the recommended steps to take if you're planning to come here?
Yeah, so actually resources like this already exist from the government side. So there's this website called suomi.fi, which is like finland.fi. And through there's like a step-by-step, how do you incorporate your company in Finland? And also it's like everything in English. It's like, how do you form or incorporate your company if you're coming from abroad, for example? So there's like a very clear checklist already from like the public player and not like some kind of a third party like us, but that already outlines all of the necessary things to do. Now, of course, sometimes it's a lot easier when you can just ask someone who has already done it. For example, with one of our coaches, you might ask if there's something like some best practices when it comes to incorporating it or choosing a board already early on or something like that. So there might be small things that depend on like what kind of a business you're doing, but mostly it's very standard procedure. It's very easy. I don't recall even how much it costs nowadays, if it's like a few €100 or something, or even that. But like the cost of incorporating a company was run down a few years ago. So nowadays, literally anyone can start a company in Finland.
Yeah, great. So you can go and check out suomi.fi, and Suomi actually means Finland. So if you are wondering what does that mean, and so great. So you can get a lot of information online, but then how are the accelerators helping? So maybe Lalit, going back to you, and then maybe coming back to Patrik, and understanding what kind of help did you got from Kiuas, because we know that you have been a Kiuas alumni. So apart from all these like operational stuff, what kind of help you got? And then maybe Patrik, it would be interesting to hear from you, like how was the process, and how would you tackle a company coming from abroad versus a company in Finland? Like, are there any differences? So let's first take Lalit over here.
Yeah, I think like general, like not just the Finnish ecosystem. I think accelerators and incubators plays a very important role for the startups, and especially if you're planning to move abroad, like the case was for Sensegrass. I think it was played a very important role. As I mentioned earlier, right, we were like doing our own internal research and doing every homework from the like Google. It's pretty hard to find right information on the Google. So I think we decided to apply for the accelerator, right? And once we got into the accelerator, we got a very clear picture, the streamlined information which you require. So I think accelerators are the soft landing process, or a platform that help your life much easier to move abroad, right? What are the things works and all. So I think it's not just about like the getting the checklist done for you, like how to process, how to incorporate the company, fundraise and all. But I think most important, like how the cultural thing works. You get a support from the mentors and advisors. Those are from the the Finnish ecosystem. These people are going to help you, like how the things work, whether you have a startup which is really worthy for this market or not, right? Because like there are tons of startup, and I think not all the startup is good fit for like not all the countries. So I think so they will try to help you. So I think is a pre-screening work. So let's say if you have a lot other loopholes. So I think, like for example, if my go to market is not clear, or my product is not clear, or even my product is great but my delivery of the solution is not clear. So I think accelerators are the body who going to help you to refine that part. And once you get into these accelerator, I think you will be in a much better position, in a much refined position, where you can apply for this business plan, business Finland for the business plan. You have like a high chances of getting selected, because you already have processed through to the panel of experts. And I think I definitely want to say one thing about the Kiuas. So we got a great support and resource from the program, right? The young, nice folks, and I think it's one of the best accelerator in Finland as well. So of course, the advantage was double. And I think there was a multiple thing. I cannot like count all the points, but like overall it was a great journey. And I think I'm not sure like what is the eligibility criteria of those, like whether they can accept direct the Indian companies or not.
Patrik, and just to summarize what you were saying, I think one of the great things what accelerators do is to give you clarity on your business plan, your market strategy, your business strategy, and all those things, which is super crucial if you're starting. It's like, you know, you are doing something, but if you want to reach faster and do less mistakes, it's much better to take help from people who have already done it and supported a lot of the entrepreneurs for doing the same. So maybe Patrik, you can help us understand what Lalit was saying, what is the application criteria, and then also how was your experience working with Sensegrass? How do you approach companies coming from abroad, knowing that they are new to the Finnish culture, to the ecosystem, what kind of support they need? So let's hear it from you.
Yeah, so I mentioned a little bit earlier about the criteria that we have for our programs. And one of the criteria that we have for this year's Accelerator program is that you're going to have to be either based or going to relocate to the Nordics or Baltics. And of course, if you're relocating to Finland, we can help you out, of course, the most. So if you don't know about the other countries, like just come to Finland and we can like help you out with that. But when it comes to the process with Sensegrass, for example, of course, it's like a really big deal when you're moving to another country. But what we as an accelerator want to do is that you can focus on your business and you don't have to worry too much about the legal stuff, so that we can help you as much as we can, the better. Now, of course, moving a business from one country to another is not a trivial process. So what we did, for example, is that we wrote a recommendation letter to Business Finland to help Sensegrass come to Finland, because they had an exceptionally talented team. They had a great product, a great idea, and it was a perfect fit with overall what we see in Finland. So it was like a no-brainer for us that the least we can do is that signal the other entities in Finland that, hey, here's a company coming from India and they are serious about going global. So let's try to help them as much as we can. And then if it means helping them finding an apartment or helping them get like a recommendation letter, like as an accelerator, yes, I believe that our role is to help with like being the kind of lubricant in some places, and really sort of like the small parts that might be hard when you're coming from another country, we try to help out with those as well.
Yeah, that's very great. And also Annamari in the previous presentation, she mentioned about so many different kind of fundings that we have. So from Business Finland, but also from VCs and investors and angel investors that we have here. And there is a great network around it. So maybe Patrik, if you can tell a little bit about how easy or how difficult it is for someone coming to Finland from abroad to get funding from investors or from Business Finland in your experience, because I saw in your presentation, your alumni have raised almost 100 million euros. So give us some insight on that.
Yeah, so I think the first thing to understand is that there are many different types of money available for you. So if you are the first point is that if you're in any way involved with, let's say, a university, already universities and research institutions have a lot of different grants, right? So that is like an easy place to start if you are working with research or with a university. Now, if you are just coming to Finland and you're not working in that, Business Finland has a lot of amazing grants. And I have to say that a lot of our alumni have utilized the grants of Business Finland, whether they come from Finland or from abroad. So they give you a lot of headway, and because they are grants, they give you an unfair advantage compared to taking, for example, VC money very early on. And the whole notion of the Business Finland capital is that you go international, so that it comes with the sort of, if you are going international, then we want to help you out. And I think that is like the right mindset you should have, that if you are going to go global, you really want to take your business somewhere else as well than just Finland, then Business Finland has a lot of ways to help you out with that as well. And grant money, as a founder, it's the best money you can have. It's even better than money from your friends and family, because if you fail your startup, Business Finland is not going to cut relations with you. So that is like one thing. Then, of course, we have a lot of banks who are very proactive in investing into startups through loans. So if you don't even want to take venture capital money, and there's a lot of banks who are investing large amounts of capital into startups through loans, which might be for some of you a better alternative than venture capital. But then if you are like a traditional startup and you're thinking of venture capital, well, I have good news for you, because we have a ton of amazing venture capital firms and angel investors in Finland. we have actually the largest angel investor network in whole Europe in Finland called Finnish Business Angel Network. And they have a very standard procedure of how you can get your pitch heard by hundreds of angel investors. And then with the VC companies, what we do as an accelerator is that we get you to know all of the main partners, the general partners of all of the major VC companies in Finland. So that if there's any kind of a venture capitalist that might have a fit with you, then we aim to connect you with them as well. And of course, all the other venture capital firms in Europe that we don't know so well, we still make introductions for all of our teams. And I have to say that if you are solving a meaningful problem, you're solving a problem that is a really big problem, it's not so hard to find capital. So like if you're in the right place, capital will find you one way or another. Yeah.
Definitely, and also being very active in the Finnish ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, I also would like to make the comment that definitely getting funding is also, you know, a skill, like pitching in front of investors, and accelerators are a great place to navigate that process, that what will make you, what Patrik said, capital is attracted to you and you're not running after the capital. So it's a great way to also, you know, fuel your business through different modes of funding. So we're coming to an end of this session. So I would like to have the last comments from Lalit. What are your next steps? Because we know, correct me if I'm wrong, you're relocating to Finland very soon. What are your next steps, and what advice would you give to anybody from India, any entrepreneurs who are looking to scale or accelerate their business in Finland?
Sure. So I think we are in the process of, as I already mentioned, we're in the process of incorporating the company. So we just actually, I'm currently in India. So I'm just utilizing the lockdown period, right? And we also have started the other process as well. So even before, like, you know, we move into Finland, we already have made some connections through the help of, you know, Patrik and Accelerator, even some other ecosystem partners. And I think maybe like this month, and I will be moving there with my team. And then we can do the other process, you know, on ground, and maybe we can make like a proper information or a document, so we can share with the other folks who wants to move Finland. I think this is apart from the this part the process. I think overall my my suggestion or my feedback to the people is, like, you know, just do a bit homework and a good brainstorming, like, you know, do you really need to expand your business right now? If yes, do you have a right business to, you know, that is suitable for any X? I'm not talking about the Finland, but any X country which is, you know, located out of India. And if the answers are yes, I think then you are in a right phase. You can start looking for the right people. Like, you know, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to the accelerators as well, right? Or the Business Finland, like, for the process. And I think the overall, you know, the success mantra is that you have to keep patience, right? Because the overall process requires time and you know, the screening and all. And not all the startups who have applied will go through the, you know, the startup visa or, you know, all this process. So I think and just to avoid, I think one of the thing which, like, because I've done like the same process multiple times for the other countries as well. So I receive a lot of you know, queries and questions from the startups and you know, and the individual entrepreneurs time to time. And I think, like, you know, the only thing is missing is, like, you know, you have to be well prepared before you applying or before you start the process. I think this is most important. And once you have done this process, I think it will be pretty easy for you to go forward for the process. I think that's my 2 cents. More than happy to help anyone who
definitely, and we will have a Q&A session after this. So everyone, please stay tuned before we end this, so you can ask more questions to Lalit and Patrik and myself. But before that, maybe Patrik, can you give your 2 cents on your advice of someone who is looking to scale or accelerate their business in Finland from India?
So my advice would be that if you can communicate the problem clearly, it's going to help you out quite a lot, because you don't need to get the right person on the phone on the first try, or like, you don't have to send an email to the exactly right decision maker if you're thinking of applying to Finland or whatever accelerator program. The fact is that the Finnish startup ecosystem is quite locally connected, and as was mentioned by Mikko earlier. And if you have a good problem and everyone feels like this is a problem that should be solved, then they will happily forward you to the right person. They will happily talk about your startup to the right people. So if you can state out clearly why it is important that you're doing, and also why Finland just makes sense for you, and I believe there's a lot of reasons why that might be, but if you can clear out that well, then I think it's going to pave the way for a lot of things. So just communicating the problem you're trying to solve, that's going to like take you very far.
Thank you, Patrik. And I agree, I concur with Patrik totally. And from my side, if you're coming onto some different kind of visas and you're still looking to become an entrepreneur in Finland, that's what I did. I moved from my tech job to start a business, and coming from India, not speaking the language and not knowing the culture, sometimes it gets really challenging, but having this ecosystem has helped a lot. So even if you're not a part of any accelerator, HELSINKI especially has a great startup ecosystem where you can get inspired by the people. People are really reachable. You can get on a virtual coffee if you just ping them on LinkedIn, and so it's a very approachable country in that way. So I think definitely it makes sense. If it makes sense for you, do consider coming and scaling in Finland. From my side, thank you Lalit and Patrik for joining us today, and we will move on to the Q&A session. And to end this, thank you so much. I'm really grateful for Headstart Network and Business Finland to giving me this opportunity. Coming from Inland and India and living in Finland for over 5 years, this initiative is really close to my heart, and I really wish speedy recovery to India, and I'm really looking forward to come home as soon as possible. So let's hope that is going to happen soon, and welcome Lalit to Finland whenever you are ready. Over to you, Gautam. It was really fun having this discussion. Let's roll on the Q&A now.
Absolutely, Priyanka, Lalit, and Patrik. So thank you so much, Priyanka. I think you were an amazing host. Really love the energy that you brought in. And Lalit and Patrik, thank you so much for the insights that you were able to give. And what I also need to acknowledge is Lalit and Patrik, you were able to also keep responding to a lot of questions on chat, while the panel was happening. So that's a different level of multitasking. I'm a big fan. So thank you so much. What I'm going to do is, in the interest of time, I'm going to quickly. I've made a list of questions because I just saw the chat while the panel was happening. From start till end, we've got about 250 plus messages. Some of these messages happen to be for Mikko, some for Mirza, some for Patrik. So I think that's where what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a lot of these questions directly, one question, each to each of you. So there is one question to you, Mikko. Mikko, can I have you back here if you're ready? And this is something that I would love to have both Mikko and Mirza share your insights. Right. So there is a question. We've also got a few accelerators from India who've joined this call as well. So I think the best part of today's session is there's been a great 50%. There's been a great representation from both India as well as Finland. And what is even better is there is also a good representation, not just of Indian entrepreneurs, but also some of the accelerators from India who are looking to learn from the accelerators in Finland, as well as get some of the startups looking at scaling up into Europe, working with you. So there is one question specific to Mikko and Mirza that's come from some of the accelerator heads in India on what has been your biggest learning in running an accelerator, especially when it comes to scaling a foreign startup, which is looking at European market access. Because I'm going to break this question down further. Finland has been a very innovative nation that has always built for a global market, right? Because we know the Finland market is rather narrow, and hence the thought process has always been to build for the larger global market. So how is as an accelerator head, how do you bring it from day one in the DNA of your startups to build for a global market? So any 2 cents for the accelerator heads here?
Well, thank you for the question. It's a good question, really. And we have a lot of international teams with us as well. Like we have a lot of international teams overall here. I think the main thing is really I would say the same thing with any other accelerator. And I'm come to the point that Patrik mentioned here earlier as well, that sometimes it's really that define the right kind of questions and understand the problem that they are really solving first. So I would say that what we can help, or what the ecosystem here can really help, because this is a narrow ecosystem, so we can really focus on the problem solving kind of the situation and the market fit well here as well. And then we have a very narrow ecosystem, so we can provide a lot of connections here as well. So what I'm doing with my clients and my previous work with the L&CO Accelerator as well is really helping to narrow down what we really are doing here, what's the really problem that we are solving, and if there is a really market fit. Because if you can solve these things and also present your team well, then it will be easier to approach not only the Business Finland, but the Finnish business angels and at the first steps, and then starting your road to the success there and the funding and developing your business further, and then go into the growth stage as well. So this is important. I think it's the same with any other startups. Understand where you are, where you're going, and what you're doing, and what the other ecosystem players are actually expected from you. So this is what we do. And I'm so happy that we have so narrow ecosystem here, because we work a lot with the Kiuas as well as an accelerator. We work a lot with the Business Finland. We work a lot with the Fiban here. We know personally everybody here, so it's really good to help people here. I don't know if that answered, but really the same than everywhere, that understand your problem that you are solving, that this is really worth to solve, and the market opportunity. That's where we start.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much on that, Mikko. And Mirza, can I quickly ask you to add a few words, because you're coming from Tampere, which is, like you said, the first accelerator in your city, right? Which means there are a lot of startups that could come from your city that is looking for support for market outside Tampere. So which is similar to Indian startups coming to you for support and looking for support beyond Tampere. So if you can quickly share some thoughts on how do you enable that, I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And Redbrick was the only one at the time, but we had plenty of accelerators before and now after. I agree with previous tips. I would like to also expand a little bit on that. It really boils down to the problem we are solving and how much of domain knowledge we have within the team. So in that case, it's quite often with early stage startups that we face this like little myth that, hey, funding is a problem. Like where do we get money from the very beginning? And money is like a logical consequence of properly solved problem, and traction that communicates that solution we have is really working and people are willing to pay for it. So I think it's fair to say that all startups and teams who were solving problems properly, they rarely ran out of money possibilities, but on the contrary. So that's also the mindset that we try to plant in heads of founders we work with. Going back to Tampere support, I think the secret sauce of Tampere support lays again in very connected ecosystem. So this is going back to, if we think about companies, you have big gigantic providers and you have family-owned businesses, right? So family-owned businesses usually give you a little bit better service than two big ecosystems like London or Tokyo or Paris and so on. So in Tampere, everybody is working very close, just like in Helsinki. And usually the problems that are not necessarily accelerator related, we might not be able to solve that, but we know what doors you should be knocking at. And same goes with some questions that were communicated throughout the presentation. Even startups from India who want to move to Finland, but maybe Red Brick or other accelerators are not good, mature fit. Please still get in touch, because we do have a lot of profiled accelerators here that all of us work closely with. So there's a lot of opportunities how to take it further.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Mirza, on that. Just to summarize, a very good point that Patrik made at the end, which is, anything on deep tech science, is a big interest for, the Finnish market and the Finnish accelerators. And, adding to what Mikko sent earlier, education or edtech is a big strength for Finland, and it's an area of, collaboration for Indian entrepreneurs from this side. And something which Mirza added is also on the gaming side, because of course, Mikko did mention Rovio at the beginning. Finland has been, the home for a lot of top gaming companies as well. So I think, all those in the gaming space, and Priyanka did mention, anyone with, solutions on the sustainability side, you are always welcome in Finland. So I think, that covers the most key areas that many are building here in India. So all of us definitely have, something in Finland to get in touch with. So I think that's where I'm going to thank all of you again. But as a parting note, I would love to ask you one question, Priyanka. You've been an Indian entrepreneur who's moved to Finland, and there's going to be a lot of, a lot of people, a lot of Indians who are watching this, who are going to ask you, what does it mean for an Indian entrepreneur to have relocated to Finland and thrive there? Because there's a lot of difference when it comes to the culture, the people, the food, the environment, the language. So your final 2 cents on how is it for an Indian to resettle and do business there?
Definitely, thank you for that question. I think it's learning. You are always in the process of learning. Sometimes it's challenging, but I think you also have a very unique advantage to you, because definitely Finland is a good market, but we should also look at from another perspective, that Finland is also looking for good talent and good startups and good businesses for the economy of the Finland, because it's good. So we can provide that talent, we can provide that innovation and that different perspective. So I think thinking from that aspect is also beneficial and give you an edge. But living here in Finland has been fun. It's a bit too cold for me. I do miss the warmth of India, and Kota, my hometown, is 45 degrees hot in summer. But yeah, it has been a journey, and you should also be prepared to have culture shocks, because it's a very different country, and have an open mind to adapt. And I'm sure you will get enough support to grow your businesses. Even if you don't know the languages, there are a lot of activities and networks and people who can help you. You just have to be active, do networking a lot, understand the ecosystem better, and know your strengths. So if you know your strengths, I think you can excel in any market.
Absolutely. Thank you so much on that. I'm going to call my partner in crime, Santeri, again on video. Santeri, if you can come for one last minute before we end today's session. Perfect.
Hi, Gautam.
So while we end this session here, I remember a quote that Santeri keeps telling me every time. When I ask him, hey, some Indian entrepreneurs are asking me why Finland for an entry into Europe over, say, UK or Germany, and the first thing he says is, UK and Germany are 5 hours behind India. Finland is just 2.5 hours behind India. We are much closer to you than what you think you are. So I think, I just wanted to bring Soikkeli back because, that's something he keeps telling me every single week. So, it always brings a smile back in terms of, hey, we are also much closer in terms of time. So thank you so much, all of you, for, being with us through the last, 90 minutes, in fact, a bit more than that. And my colleague Arzu is going to be sending a mail to all of you with, of course, some of the content and the videos from today's session. Of course, there will also be a note for you if you wish to get connected with any of the accelerators or wish to relocate to Finland. You can respond to her, or through the mail you can connect with Soikkeli or Annamari, who will guide you on relocating to Finland. So thank you so much, all of you. It was a pleasure. If I may request all of you to turn your videos on for a minute. Let's all take a picture. This is the best we can, probably a screenshot of the screen in today's world for our memories.
Thank you everyone, and thank you for being with us. So have a nice weekend. Bye.
Nice weekend to everyone.
Bye everyone. Have a nice weekend.